Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 16th July 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV nectar NECTAR nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in the vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous videos. So let us continue with the discussion for the topic of today's video. We have been discussing about the intricacies of ether and ego and how karma, ether and ego and other subtle bodies work on the psyche of a human living entity. By now, we realize that there are several factors that define a particular living entity's activities, karma, psyche, destiny, and other such things in his or her particular lifetime. This is all because of the vibrations from the three subtle bodies, which vibrations the body takes, the destiny and the karma of a particular living entity, plus his or her false ego and how it works. We have been discussing about several case histories pertaining to and authenticating this particular observation in our study of materialism and spiritualism. Yesterday, we talked about one particular character called Mr. Manohar Ike, who, thanks to his own efforts, became known as Pocket Hercules and despite being only 4 foot 11 inches tall, became an international living legend and icon and whose name featured in the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, yesterday we did not talk about how all this happened probably in his lifetime. Today we shall begin this particular video by continuing our discussion on this man's karma and destiny to understand this person better. We all know by now that Mr. Manohar Aik was born in a humble family in a province called Komila in Bengal and who went through a lot of deprivations and struggles before he landed in the Air Force of the British Air Force during the Second World War and was imprisoned along with other members of his regiment and brought to a cell as a separate cell for this man for 5 years. This guy had to spend 5 years in a separate cell during his imprisonment in his Air Force mutiny, thanks to his Air Force mutiny. We all know the details in my previous video, but today we will try to analyze his karma, which defined his 104-year lifetime and career. This guy lived till the age of 104. He was a bodybuilder till the age of 95. He spent time and worked with his own sons to maintain his own gym till a few days before his own death. That is, he was active as a gym manager till a few days before his death at the age of 104. Now his karma. According to what we know about his lifetime, we find that his prarabdha karma, or a slice of his sanchit karma of storage of unworked karma in his psyche, brought him to Komila and got him be born in an humble family in West Bengal on 17th March 1912. This was Prarabdha Karma. It began right there and then. This Prarabdha Karma sent him through various hardships, experiences, atmosphere, etc., till he landed in a prison as a separate cell inmate in a particular cell at the age of around 35. He was 35 when he found himself in a prison in a separate cell. Till this time, his prarabdha karma worked. That is, his prarabdha karma designed his destiny till then. However, here, this particular prarabdha karma came to its end and gave his kriyamana karma or free will a necessary push. This I am saying because here the prarabdha karma ended, but it gave a particular chance or opportunity for this man to use his free will to live the rest of his life. This guy could have chosen to keep his prarabdha karma running till the end of his life, but no, he chose to use his free will and through it his own kriyamana karma in this particular lifetime. It is that which made him a bodybuilder, a living legend, an icon, a person known as Pocket Hercules, become a part of the Guinness Book of World Records, starts his own gym which is still running and famous, and die at the age of 104. In other words, his lifetime from the age of 35 to 104 was because of his own free will and Kriyamana Karma. This I wanted to explain to people who are viewing this video so that they may realize, accept, and understand that every one of us can change our life and our destiny and our karma according to our free will and kriyamana karma in a particular lifetime. It is all in our own hands. God has given us this free will. Anyway, today we shall talk about another interesting case history which will make us realize how another person used his own Kriyamana Karma to very negative results in his life. This guy was happy till his prarabdha karma worked, but the moment it gave his kriyamana karma the necessary boost, he committed such an act that his sanchit karma had one more unworked karma joined to it for future reference and for getting a slice of prarabdha karma in his future births. How this happened we'll know now. This guy, whose prarabdha karma was excellent to say the least, was born with a not silver but golden spoon. He was born as a Scion in a very successful business house in India. This business house dealt with garments and fabrics and was well known for its suitings and shirtings. This guy was not only wealthy but also quite good looking. Because he was born on the lap of luxury, he did not have much to do in his life. So he took up bodybuilding in an early age. He was known for becoming or being a very good gym enthusiast. So much so that when he grew up, he was he grew up as a strapping, very handsome, very well-built young man who was not required to participate in the hardships of his business thanks to his parents, uncles, and cousins. This guy grew up to be a very attractive person. Once it happened, this guy decided to get married. Till this time, the only place where he used his brain was in bodybuilding. He was like a frog in a well where everything was hunky dory. He need not have bothered about anything else in his lifetime. By the time he was 32, he was a plain guy who knew nothing except about living a life of luxury and bodybuilding. On the other hand, the girl who he married was an educated and very intelligent person who was probably professionally qualified in a particular field. This guy just married this woman as an asset or a proud piece of achievement. This girl also married this guy as a trophy husband. So far, so good. But yet, wrong things were about to happen in the life of this very nice but unfortunate person. Here, slowly his prarabdha karma overlapped with his kriyamana karma. How this happened, I will discuss in detail now. One day, this lady took him to a party of chosen guests in a particular hotel. This guy, as I had mentioned before, knew nothing about life except living in a lap of luxury as a handsome, strapping young man with an extraordinary physique. When it came to brains, all his mental faculties and cerebral faculties had been spent on just bodybuilding. So he was not very educated or professionally qualified to wax eloquence about any subject. This lady and the other guests, who were mainly male, began some discussion about a particular technical subject. This guy was also there. This guy thought that he could also join that discussion. The other guys humored him for some time, but then this guy made some outlandish offhand remark pertaining to that subject, which was laughable at the least. It showed his ignorance to the other people starkly, or it made everyone really realize that this handsome, well built man was actually an ignoramus. They all sneered, smirked, and jeered at this guy. But this guy could not understand this because he was, to say the least, a little dumb. However, these gestures from the other guests embarrassed this man's wife, who flew into a rage and said tartly, "When you know that you are a fool and when you know nothing about a subject, why pass comments on it? You could have kept your mouth shut, no?" The other people laughed when she said so. For the first time, this 32-year-old young man was struck deep into his psyche because of this acidic comment from his own wife. It hurt him somewhere deep into his heart, mind, and psyche. He was so hurt by this sudden comment from his wife and from the jeering and sneering from the other guests of that particular party, that he left the party in a huff. His Kriyamana karma had begun working now. This guy went home alone, went to his room, took some 20 or 30 sleeping pills, powdered them, mixed them with a glass of water, and drank the whole portion and slept never to wake up. He was dead at the age of 32 just because his Kriyamana karma of free will had woken up there and then, and it had made him realize the futility of his own life, where he had been all physical but no cerebral, and even if this was understandable, he must not have interfered in a field which he knew nothing about. This made this guy realize that though he was physically very well built and handsome and was a scion of a business house, as an individual he was actually worthless. He had achieved nothing either physically or cerebrally or spiritually in his 32-year-old life. He had lived only for himself and he thought that this was life. This story tells us how a person's Kriyamana karma may change his or her destiny. This is because this Kriyamana karma in the case of this particular person made him do something which is still unworked in the sense that it deprived his own wife and his family from the company of this young man. He was dead at a very early age, and that too because of a deliberate suicide. This is a very mammoth or Himalayan blunder on his side, which is a very heavy cross to bear for this particular living entity. He has to repay for this in his next birth because it has still remained unworked and has probably joined his Agami karma and then his Sanchit karma, and when he takes a slice of a future Prarabdha karma, probably this unworked karma of suicide will become a part of that Prarabdha karma. This cautions us and makes us realize that when we use our own free will and Kriyamana karma, we must never do anything which is painful to all who are around us and to the society and is negative to say the least. We must always use our free will to do something positive so that our Sanchit karma and abagami karma are positive either materialistically or spiritually. There have been people as like Mr. Manohar Aik, Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani, etc., who were born in humble circumstances, but thanks to their own Kriyamana karma, achieved an iconic status in life and thus improved their own karma for future prarabdha karma for future births. Anyway, our idea is not to take future births. Our idea is to seek liberation from such future births forever and come out of the orbit of endless births and deaths in our lifetime. We should come out of this cocoon of material bodies and become the soul that we originally are. That will give take us or pave the road towards liberation and then finally deliverance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is all for today's video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this particular society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.